Hi. Since the S&P was at 4850, that was 13% ago, I told you 3 times already not to be a lemming and not to sell. This is the 4th time. What prompted this repeat? None other than the best lemming indicator of all. Not only is it wrong, but it is wildly spectacularly wrong every time at exactly the wrong time. That is the right time, from your point of view. Who is this best lemming? Jim Cramer? No. Not that Cramer is bad at being always wrong, but his track record is not as long as that of the king of lemmings. And which one is that? The Economist magazine. This British publication, written mostly by young Oxford grads who are mostly left of center and have probably never left London, always comes at the end of a trend, just when it begins to change, and then they trumpet their opinion on the magazine cover. An opinion gleaned from reading other magazines and newspapers and today the internet. No original research, certainly no sleuthing. So how can they be right? So of course they aren't. Consistently. Here is the latest cover. This latest Economist cover, dated April 2025, shows the American eagle, which has started a trade war with all the world, severely bandaged, battered, bruised, and wounded. The eagle, of course, represents Trump, and the title says all we can do is wait for him to get out of office. Is the Economist right? Well, let's look at 2 other times when the Economist was spectacularly wrong. One was in August 1979, when the magazine declared equities are dead, an honor it shared with Businessweek at the time, which said the same thing. This, of course, was the very bottom of the bear market before equities began a 45 to 50-year climb. And they caught it right at the bottom, saying equities are dead, just as equities rolled back into life. How is that for being a reverse indicator? Much better than Cramer. Or a second time, the Economist was a perfect reverse indicator, was March 1999, when it said right on the cover, the world is drowning in oil. Oil was then $10 a barrel, the very bottom of the oil market, which is why I am fingering these latest covers of theirs. Let's see it again. You see, when the Economist magazine declares today the US is the loser in the trade war, you can practically take it to the bank that the US is winning. And it's really China which is severely wounded and will come out a loser. Now, why does it matter? Because it adds to the fear and greed index that bottomed at a historic 4 out of 100 a few weeks ago, indicating a hysteria of fear by the lemmings, which means that the market is probably making a big bottom against all the background of panic and fear by lemmings, the king of whom just added its voice. Now, not to take away from the dubious honor of the Economist, there are other great contrary indicators, some of them no longer with us. Here is a pick of them. First, as wrong bears. Times cover announced in October 2008, the panic of 2008. This was mere 5 months before the market bottom in March of 2009. Newsweek added to this a lemming all of its own, a month later, with the new hard times on its cover. That too you could have taken to the bank. By doing the opposite and buying. But do contrarian lemmings call only market bottoms? No. Happily, they are also good for signaling euphoric tops. On May 1999, Barron's announced Amazon as the future of retailing just before the stock crashed 90% in a dot-com bust. So yes, it was right fundamentally about Amazon as a company being the future, but taking 90% on the chin right after you buy is a bit stretching it, isn't it? Not to pick up on Barron's, Fortune did Barron's one better by declaring the mighty Microsoft on March 2000, right at the stock peak, after which Microsoft stagnated for a full decade. How would you like that? Or how about the Economist cover on June 2005, the great American housing boom? And that, of course, was the peak housing euphoria right before the 2008-2009 great financial crisis. Or again, the Economist, December 2017, Bitcoin mania? Bitcoin fell 81% right after. Ouch! Or how about crypto's new kings? On Fortune 2022, with Sam Bankman-Fried on the cover just before FTX, his company, collapsed, and Sam went to jail for the scam. But let's stop being mean by naming names. Let's just say that most mainstream business media are wrong because of how they do their job. They don't do physical sleuthing. Never. They don't do investigative research anymore. The advertisers don't like it. As a result, they mainly tell the suckers what everybody else already knows. And they do it at the extreme point, of course, which is why they bubble with fear or euphoria exactly at the wrong times, as the Economist is doing now. In short, the latest Economist cover only served to reinforce my conviction that this market is at a bottom. Now, it doesn't mean the market will zoom right up from here. It could, but maybe not. But it does mean, in my opinion, that Trump's bold gambit of grabbing a mass tribute from all the US trading partners will likely succeed. Only the world doesn't realize it yet, sharing as it is the Economist view. But as the realization of the US winning hand begin to dawn, the market will begin to zoom. How far? As I said several times before, S&P and 7,500, maybe a shade more. But careful, when euphoria finally spreads, not if, but when, in my opinion, the Economist will probably come up with another great cover, trumpeting the bull market it has just missed. That would be the time to be the first lemming and sell to all the late-coming bulls, readers of the Economist all, who had stayed away by this scary April cover. That's all for today. Please let me know what you think of the above. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and then forward it to all your friends and subscribers who they subscribe to. Then buy my books, The Sleuth Investor and The Advanced Sleuth Investor, when you can learn how to do what the Economist and other lazy bums never do. That is, sleuth for proprietary physical information. And if you like the books, please do reviews for them on Amazon, which I hope will be good ones. I'll see you next time. And meantime, thank you very much for watching.